I keep my goals to myself, cause whenever I share it with folks, they get a look upon their face and their memory floats to a time where their goals and the stars ain't...
What's good? We're going to get into Monday Night Raw from March the 16th, 2026. Monday Night Raw overall was an okay show. Vastly boring outside of the opening segment and the closing segment. Other than that, the show was boring. I did like Penta and Dragon Lee. That was great. That was the match of the night. Other than that, everything else on the show was boring. But I did like Brock and Oba, and I liked Roman and Punk. This wasn't their best outing in regards to CM Punk and Roman Reigns. It was not, but it was okay. So, we kicked the show off with Seth Rollins. He shows up with his ninjas. They all show up. So, Rollins says that he wants to make something perfectly clear, and that is, he created the Vision, and he'll be the one to kill the Vision. He doesn't care if you're on the shelf like Braun Breaker or Bronson Reed. He doesn't care if you're a person or a hanger-on like Austin Theory or Logan Paul. If you stand next to Paul Heyman, consider yourself marked for death. He said 2 weeks ago he had the satisfaction of putting a steel chair into Paul Heyman's back and stomping his fat head into the mat. So Paul Heyman shows up. He's disheveled and his eyes bloodshot. He looks unshaven. Looks like he's homeless, but he's not. So Seth Rollins says Paul Heyman thinks that he's smarter than him, so a fuck you Heyman chant breaks out among the crowd, which is great. So Seth Rollins said he hopes it's perfect for Paul Heyman. Seth Rollins has made a lot of mistakes in his life, and letting Paul Heyman to his inner circle was the worst he's ever made. Seth Rollins will pay him back for his betrayal every single day until he's gone from this business. He'll cut Paul Heyman out like the cancer that he is. So Paul Heyman said he wasn't going to come out here, but he wouldn't miss this for the world. Did he interrupt Seth Rollins' press a little hateful promo? It's because he's been effing with him. Rollins F with him, so he did it back. The rule is F-O-F-A. F-O-F-A. Fuck around and find out. And then he says it again, and then it's F-O-F-5. So Brock Lesnar shows up, gets a massive reaction, takes off his cowboy hat, his vest, gets to work, beats the shit out of every one of Seth Rollins' ninjas. He beats the crap out of all of them, German suplex, belly suplex, all that. He screams, and some of the guys scare off, which is kind of funny. I did like that. So Lesnar gets into the ring. He has a brief stare down with Rollins. So the lights go out for a brief moment, and then Oba Femi music hit, and the crowd pops massive. Massive Oba chants break. So Seth Rollins is still in the ring. Oba's there. Rollins is in the corner. Lesnar stares down Oba Femi for a brief second. He's about to attack Rollins. Is Brock Lesnar, but Rollins gets out of dodge. Oba Femi hits the fall from Grace Powerbomb, and he puts his foot on Brock Lesnar's chest, and he points at the WrestleMania sign, and he's going to be entering the Open Challenge. Open Challenge is accepted. I like this. The crowd was super into this. San Antonio did an awesome job, and this was great. I do like this. I do. I am intrigued by this. But the issue that I have is, if Oba does not win from WrestleMania 42, what the hell do you do with him? What do you do with him? Hopefully Brock will put Oba Femi at WrestleMania. Me personally, I want this match just I would like for this match to have been built up for at least a good 6 months to a year. I would love for them to have faced off at next year's WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia. I think that would have been the better option, but it is fine. There's nothing we can do about it. It's a year away, but it is what it is. But again, I am kind of worried about if Oba does not win, what do you do with Oba Femi? Because you get him a bunch of momentum, and this got him massively over. Oba's been massively over for a minute. He killed it in NXT. He was great. I loved him down there. Tremendous. And he's not really done much of anything on the main roster, but just, beat up guys, Kit Wilson and others. So he's not really done much of anything. I mean, he did have that exchange with Cody Rhodes at Saturday Night's Main Event, but, that hasn't been talked about since then, so yeah. But this is fine. This makes sense. I also wonder, what's Seth Rollins going to do at WrestleMania? What's he going to do? And that, to me, scares me as well, because he didn't have WrestleMania plans, right? Like, according to Triple H, Rollins is a top guy, which he kind of is. He is. He's more, to me, he's more mid. He's more of a mid-level top guy, but he's still fine. He's still a top guy nonetheless. But what do you do with Seth Rollins at WrestleMania? I have no idea. I don't know. I don't even know if Braun Breaker's going to be back in time for Mania. Don't really know. If he's not, you can always do the match at Backlash, Rollins versus Braun Breaker at Backlash in May, because Backlash is in early May anyway, so you could do it there, because WrestleMania is in late April, and then within 3 weeks' time it'll be Backlash. So maybe you do it there. I don't know, but Seth Rollins not to have a WrestleMania match in moment is kind of eh. But I mean, it is what it is, honestly, to be honest. Like, Steph's been a top guy for 10 plus years, basically. So, yeah, whatever. Moving on. This leads us into, El Grande Americano versus, Grande Americano. So, basically, Kaiser versus Chad Gable, basically. Kaiser gets the win. So it is what it is. That was the first match of the night. Who really gives a damn? Not really concerned about it. This needs to end at Mania, although this should end in AAA in front of the Mexican crowd, but it's not going to happen because they would love this. But I mean, us Americans, we know who it is and everything, but whatever. I don't really care. So who gives a shit? Moving on, this leads us into Roman Reigns. He shows up in a black sedan. So Roman Reigns shows up. He's greeted by his cousins, the Usos. Roman says that he knows it felt good for them to attack CM Punk. The Usos said Punk deserved it. Roman says that when you run your mouth, there's consequences. Reigns looks to the camera and tells his entire bloodline they should be offended by what CM Punk said about his pops. They have before and after WrestleMania, but that weekend, CM Punk is Roman's. And then Roman daps up his cousins, and then that was it. Okay, that's fine there. It seems like we are going to do a Bloodline reunion post-Mania. Maybe Zilla Fatu shows up, maybe. I don't know if he's ready for that just yet. I really, really don't know. But we kind of knew, and we all figured that's who Roman was alluding to as to the rest of the family, right? So we know Jacob is on SmackDown, along with Solo and the Tongans and all that. So yeah, whatever. But this is fine there. Moving on. This leads us into Liv Morgan. She has a vignette. She says that, she tears up a Finn Balor jersey. She says that this has been her plan all along, since the day she joined the Judgment Day. Finn Balor thought that he was in control and in charge, Finn Balor was on borrowed time and he didn't know it. Liv Morgan only put up with Finn Balor out of respect for his relationship with Dominic Mysterio. Liv Morgan knows when Finn Balor is lying, scheming, and thinking he's being manipulative. It's been a pleasure watching Finn Balor fall from grace. Finn Balor couldn't hang with the Judgment Day anymore. Finn Balor got soft. He's pathetic, a loser, and washed up. It made her sick calling Finn Balor her family every week, and they took a play out of Finn Balor's playbook. Finn Balor did teach them the Judgment Day way. And so she says JD McDonough's going to do bigger and better things on his own. Dom is still the AAA Mega Champion, and he's going to get the IC title back at some point. And Mikel Rodriguez is going to be a future champion and take care of Stephanie Baker. She says at WrestleMania, Liv Morgan will win the Women's World Championship, and that family that Stephanie Baker says she hides behind has her back. Without Balor, they're better than ever. And then Liv Morgan says, watch this. Okay, that's fine. So this makes sense. I do like this. This is a pretty interesting promo here. Balor should show up on next week's show. Maybe we get Balor and Dom at Mania, which we probably will, which is fine. But I don't think this is over with by a long shot. I feel like WrestleMania is just the beginning between Dominic Mysterio and Finn Balor. I feel like they're probably going to add more people to the Judgment Day post-Mania. So we have to wait and see how things play out. Moving on. This leads us into Roman Reigns. He's on the show again. This is his second time being on the show. Roman's sitting in the locker room with the Usos. Jey Uso says that he couldn't believe that Reigns didn't lay CM Punk out last time. Jimmy says that Punk has nothing on him. They can all say that Roman Reigns is a part-timer. Roman Reigns just asked if they know how much he saw his father as a kid. They all didn't. They all paid their dues. Their kids don't have to. Roman Reigns doesn't care if people think he's a part-timer or not. As long as his wife and kids know him and that he's there for them, he's good. The Usos say they haven't gotten their apology yet. Roman Reigns says he doesn't need an apology. He'll go get one later on tonight. What's going to happen? I mean, what's the worst that can happen? CM Punk beats him up, and then they laugh, and then that was it. So that's fine. Moving on, let's lead us into AJ Lee versus Bayley for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. AJ Lee retains, so Bayley taps out. Match is pretty okay. I actually liked it. It's pretty alright. So then Becky Lynch shows up and beat up AJ Lee post-match, so we know that's where that's going for Mania. I don't know what the stipulation is going to be. And I don't think that AJ is going to be champion long. I think we know that her days are numbered. So there's that. I don't know what kind of match that her and Becky can have at Mania. Maybe a steel cage, maybe. I don't know, but we'll have to wait and see how things play out. But you got to add a stipulation for their rematch at Mania. Moving on. Adam Pearce is backstage talking to JD McDonough. Adam Pearce says Dominic Mysterio is not medically cleared, so Penta shows up and he thanks Adam Pearce for walking off. Then Adam Pearce argues with JD McDonough. Who cares? Moving on. This leads us into Penta. So Penta shows up. He gets another promo. He says last week, he told the world last week that he wants to be a fighting champion. He told Adam Pearce to pick anyone because Penta's always ready. Penta says that he'll be a champion of the people and will defend the title in San Antonio, Texas. Whoever comes to the ring tonight, he should be ready because his name is Penta and he has zero fear. So Dragon Lee shows up to answer the call, and this match was fun. Penta retains the title via the Mexican Destroyer off the second rope for the 1, 2, 3. Very good match, man. Dragon Lee is a fucking gem. He's amazing. Very, very good young luchador. I think Dragon Lee's in his mid-20s or maybe his late 20s, early 30s. But anyway, Dragon Lee is the future. This guy is fucking solid. He's solid. Good stuff. Moving on from that, this leads us into Paul Heyman. So he's back with the Vision. The Logan Paul and Austin Theory, they show up. Austin Theory says that Brock Lesnar will do what he needs to do to Oba Femi. As for Seth Rollins, he's a dead man. They'll handle him. Paul Heyman says that's the worst thing they can do. Seth Rollins' plan is to is a divide and conquer strategy. Rollins hits him with a shield chair shot, a steel chair shot, and stumped him. He's a 60-year-old man, no ramifications. They have no leverage. They need titles. They need to get themselves in the position for the Usos Tag Team Championship. And once they get those, he can position them for singles titles. The focus needs to be on the Usos. Austin says he'll apply the pressure. Paul Heyman says that's my vision. Paul Heyman says they'll get the Tag Team Championships. And as of now, the Usos are ex-champions because they love them so much. They'll get LA Knight too. Logan Paul slaps Paul Heyman on the back, and then he's in a lot of pain, that being Paul Heyman. Okay, this is fine, I guess. But do I care about the Vision? No, I don't give a fuck about the Vision. I like Logan Paul, and then Austin Theory, he's good too, but the Vision is done. They're done. It's over. It's over. Moving on, this leads us into Maxine Dupree versus Natty. Didn't care about this at all. Natty gets the win via the sharpshooter, so whatever. I don't care about any of this at all. I don't give a shit. They need to make Natalya a producer, or hopefully TJ, her husband, can impregnate her so Natty can go away for a good while. I would love for her to go away. Again, she's been pushed since 06, right? 20 years ago. Like, stop. Can we just make her a producer, please, or something? Because Natty is just so boring. She's super boring. Oh my god. Moving on, this leads us into the interview between Randy Orton and Michael Cole. So, Randy Orton was using a webcam, basically. He's talking to someone on the phone. So, Randy Orton says to the person on the phone that he appreciates them doing this and he'll see them soon. I don't know who that could be. Maybe Aleister Black, maybe. I don't know. I doubt it, though. Randy Orton says he knows that he agreed to do an interview with Michael Cole, but he's changed his mind. But he'll leave him with this. He said, since Friday, people have been asking him a ton of questions. Finally, he had a conversation with someone with a brain, and they said something profound to him, which made him reflect on his life and understand who he is and what he is. They made him understand that he did what he did to Cody Rhodes on SmackDown. Randy says he's a killer. And then Randy says, hey, Cole, wrestling is more than just one royal family. Okay, that's fine there. I like that. I would assume the person that he was talking to was Aleister Black, right? Because Aleister Black and Zelina Vega, they're in the Karrion Kross Scarlet role before both of them got released. So there's that. I mean, that's fine, I guess. Moving on. This leads us into Jevon Evans. He's dapping up Dragon Lee, who's holding his neck in pain. So Jevon Evans puts over Dragon Lee's performance. Kofi Kingston shows up and asks for a word with Jevon Evans. Kofi Kingston says he knows Jevon Evans wants to be the next face of WWE, and as a former WWE champion, it's all about who you associate with. There are people who can lift you up or be dragging him down, making fun of Dragon Lee. So this pisses off Jevon Evans, who plans to join the New Day. Grayson Waller shows up and says he didn't see what Kofi Kingston sees in Jevon Evans. Kofi Kingston says people say the same thing about Grayson Waller. So Danhausen shows up and wants to join the New Day. They don't want Danhausen to join the New Day. They're not afraid of his voodoo. So Kofi Kingston pulls Grayson Waller in front of him, and Danhausen says, "You're cursed." So Danhausen claps, "You're cursed." The rhythm of the New Day rocks. So that's hilarious. So I like that. That's kind of funny there. I like what they're doing with Danhausen. Clearly, this is going to break up Kofi. This is great. Kofi needs to be on his own, basically. Xavier Woods is injured. We don't know how long he's going to be out. Maybe 3 or 4 months. I don't know. And Grayson Waller, he's fine as a singles. I would love him. I mean, I would love for him to be on the main. I mean, for him to be on SmackDown. You know, give him a breath of fresh air. Because Grayson Waller, he's just not done jack shit. I don't know, man. I really don't know. Moving on. This leads us into Stephanie Vacker versus Stephanie Vacker versus Raquel Rodriguez. Stephanie Vacker defeats Raquel Rodriguez. So, you know, there's that. Io, for whatever reason, she got involved and she took out Liv Morgan. And, you know, Stephanie Vacker wins via roll up, which is fine. I'm guessing they're going to do a triple threat at Mania. Io Sky, Stephanie Vacker, and Liv Morgan. I think that's where they're going with all of this. I mean, I'm not a fan of that, but it is what it is. I mean, you know, you gotta do something with Io. I thought she was gonna be feuding with Kairi and Asuka, you know, doing stuff with that storyline, but that doesn't seem like to be the case. So whatever. Moving on. This leads us into Lyra Valkyria and Bayley. They're talking. So Bayley's dejected. Lyra yells at Bayley briefly. She says they're gonna get the WrestleMania together. So the Kabuki Warriors, they show up. Asuka says that she'll never forget what Bayley and Lyra Valkyria and Bayley cost in their match last week. She could have been beaten AJ Lee. So Asuka walks off. So Kairi Sane sad and disheveled. Kairi Sane says, "Stay away from us." Asuka screams, "Kairi." Kairi scurries off. So there's that. So Logan Paul and Austin Theory, they show up and they speak with Maximum Dupree for whatever reason. I don't know about any of this, and I really don't care about any of this shit, so whatever. Moving on, this leads us into LA Knight and the Usos. So, LA Knight says that he's down to team with the Usos or whatever and take on the Vision. They'll have business with the Vision going back a long time. LA Knight said that he couldn't help but notice that Roman Reigns is getting a little cozy. The Usos say it's family business. LA Knight needs to mind his own business. LA Knight says that he respects family business, but he can't respect the old bloodline's return. LA Knight won't be on the same page as Jimmy Uso do that. So Jimmy Uso fist bumps LA Knight. Jey Uso declines, and then LA Knight just chuckles and out with it. Okay, I don't really care about any of this. Alright, moving on. Moving on, this leads us into the closing segment of the show. The third face-off between Roman Reigns and CM Punk. This one here was okay. So, Roman gets on the mic, put himself over. He calls out CM Punk. CM Punk's tired of Roman Reigns calling him by his government name. So, CM Punk says that he could call Roman by his real name, Joe, but he's got too much respect from a real Samoan. So, mentioning, you know, Samoa Joe and everything else, that was pretty cool there. So, Roman Reigns says that he expected CM Punk to say what he said last week, but he's on everyone's mind all the time. As for Punk, he'll just say anything, like he's got him in the main event. Roman said that CM Punk hasn't main evented anything this year. CM Punk couldn't main event a live event tour in Europe, let alone the main event at WrestleMania. Roman Reigns tells CM Punk to say something special. Punk says they're calling now. He called for Roman Reigns last week, but Reigns was too chicken shit to show up. But he sent his young boys, his cousins. So Punk says that he's a gold medal habitual line stepper. He'll do whatever he pleases to gain the advantage. And that's why the people love him and why Roman Reigns doesn't. He didn't want Jimmy and Jay to get in their crosshairs and come out and handle, but they came out and handled family business. So Punk deserved what he got. It was the right message, but the wrong messenger. So basically, Roman asked the crowd why they cheer for him, why they cheer for CM Punk. He's heard this garbage for 5 years. Punk is trite and redundant. He repeats the same shit over and over again, which is true. He calls Roman Reigns a part-timer. He says, Roman says, until you can come up with something that can actually phase me, don't waste my time. So Roman gets out of the way. CM Punk calls Roman a young boy and tells him to get back into his ring and everything else. CM Punk knows that he's in the head of Roman Reigns. He can see it and he can feel it. This is the last time Roman Reigns will main event WrestleMania. He'll lift Roman Reigns onto his shoulders and give him a GTS, and all his Punkamaniacs can run wild. Okay, that was a good nod there. So Roman says he didn't want to go here because they have so much history to tap into. He says CM Punk is delusional. But they know that Punk is great on the mic and at the mental games, but Punk won't faze him. Roman's the most successful superstar that CM Punk's ever run into. Roman Reigns is the tribal chief and has done everything under the sun in this business. CM Punk can't walk the walk. CM Punk isn't faster or stronger than him. CM Punk is nothing to him. That title on Punk's waist is an embarrassment. CM Punk is a tryhard and making them look bad because he's old. And then CM Punk just hits Roman Reigns because he says that. He calls him old. And then that was it. So Roman Reigns gets up and says that Punk can dish it. But he sure as hell can't take it. And that was it. So, that's fine. And then Roman says that he can play mind games too. All right, this is fine. This is kind of one of their weaker exchanges, but we get where it's coming from, so it's fine, I guess. But I like this. This was okay. It was not better than the first two encounters, but Roman, he's better than Punk though. He's better than Punk. Like CM Punk, in my opinion, he's washed. He's been a wash for a minute. He is good on the mic and he's good at playing mind games, but that's it. But in the ring, he's washed. So it is what it is. But Monday Night Raw, for the most part, was okay. I dug the Oba Femi Brock Lesnar stuff. That's nice. Hopefully Oba does not lose. Hopefully Brock will put him over. The CM Punk Roman Reigns exchange was okay. And the Penta and Dragon Lee stuff was fine. That was fun. Some really good shit there. But what did you guys think? Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.